This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, I'm recording the session. All right, so what I will do is I will just give a brief overview about our program. I think that is what I thought I intended to do today. Give you an overview what our program is and how we are going to conduct the program and the timing and schedules or right whatever information. So I'll go ahead and present this. I'm not going to in depth on the topic list. You can see my screen, right? That action items, it's a PPT, which I am presenting on full screen.
Yeah, but the layout is very small. Not sure if you can full screen that.
It is full screen. Can you not see the full screen? Um,
1/3 of the screen, it shows the participants actually from my side.
okay, I think you can do that. There's a button.
You guys can, yeah, you guys can change there in the top middle, if you see there, everyone, change it to active cameras, then you will see only the presenter screen.
Right, right.
Yeah, after clicking hide everyone, I'm able to see. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Cool. Let me also disable if you go to meeting options. So yeah, it's already disabled the camera side. Okay, so let me let us start. All right, so our course is majorly split into four categories. One is containerization and cloud orchestration. Then we have configuration management, CI/CD on multi-projects, and Kubernetes advanced training. So these are, this is also Kubernetes training, and the one here, container orchestration in the cloud, is also Kubernetes training, and this is also another Kubernetes training. And we split the whole training into four categories. And for each category, our plan is to conduct 2 weeks of hands-on training, which would be an advanced training. And after that, we will do 1 week project. That is the plan. That is the way how we are going to work for the next 3 weeks. So the reason we will have, we need different talents while doing the project, right? There would be little bit of development stuff that we have to do, where I think we already have a number of developers in here, and then a lot of DevOps learning that we do. We don't do the coding in our training. Our intention is not to learn the coding. We would be completely focusing on DevOps and practices. So this entire course is built to understand the core concept of DevOps and also get an in-depth understanding about different areas, these four areas within DevOps, and also do a project that would help you understand the work, how you work inside a company and all these practices, right? And this is an overview. And you can get a detailed topic list from your contact person. Today I'm not getting into the detailed topic list, rather I want to talk about how exactly we are planning the program and what is the relevance of these four sectors within DevOps, right? That's the idea. And these are all advanced training, and before we start with any of that advanced training, initially starting from tomorrow, we will be learning some basics that start from the Linux, right? We will be using Linux a lot throughout the training. Not only in the training, in future also, when you find a DevOps job, there are very good chances that you are going to work on Linux a lot. So we will start with some Linux basics tomorrow. It would be the people who are not very familiar with Linux. You have to get yourself comfortable with the Linux command line, and be able to work faster on the Linux. That is the intention. So tomorrow we will start with very basics of Linux, and we will create a cloud account for everyone in AWS. You all will create your own cloud account, and our lab environment will be in the cloud. You will create a Linux machine there, and you will be working on that machine. That's what we will do for first couple of days, tomorrow and day after. And after that, we will start with a little bit of advanced topics. We talk about software, we talk about web applications and how to run a website on a Linux environment, make the website available to everyone. And we talk about how we can, put that web application inside a Docker container. How do you develop a Docker image? These are a few things that you need to understand before we start any of this advanced training. So that is the intention, and this prerequisites training would take about 1.5 weeks, starting from tomorrow till next week mid. We will be on the prerequisites training, and a very, very important training. We are actually building the foundation for this course during the prerequisites training. And once we are done with the prerequisites training, we will start with the containerization and cloud orchestration. Right, this is the first training, first advanced program that we will start, where we talk about Google Cloud, AWS Cloud, and Microsoft Azure. How you can run your a complicated Docker based infrastructure in the cloud. That is what the intention, that is what we are going to learn. And this is going to be a 2 weeks training, where we talk about all the cloud providers and the command line, how you can connect to those cloud providers from the command line, how you can run the Kubernetes cluster, managed Kubernetes cluster in all these cloud providers, how you can migrate your application from one cloud provider to the other cloud provider, and all these things we will talk about, and how the storage, what are the different cloud services that you need to manage, and how Kubernetes will manage them. So this is going to be a Kubernetes training in the cloud. That's what the training is all about. And after this 2 weeks of training, we will do one project, and the project would be more advanced, and a project need to be completed in a week. So what that means is you may have to do some extra work during the project. You are not alone, because everyone work together to complete only one project, right? So we will have 20, 25, 20, 22 people, and every team will have, we split ourselves into 3 to 4 different teams, and every team will have 5 to 6 people. So it's not a big deal. A project is well coordinated, and one of you would lead the project, one of you who have management skills and who has already working as a project manager would be leading this project. We will be following all the agile practices and stand-ups and daily plannings, and all these things would happen, and the project would be completed by end of the week. Every team would take one task from the project and try to complete it. And this is a project, if you were do it inside a company, it's going to take months, at least I would say 4 to 5 months. So all the projects are very, very advanced. That is the point what I am trying to make here. And that would actually give you the idea is that we are learning a lot of hands-on training during our training weeks, 2 weeks of training. The projects is all about understanding the work. I don't expect each one of you to do the entire project from scratch. It's not about a lot of technical knowledge, but all about understanding what are the teams and how do you coordinate between the team, and how you assign work to different individuals, and what is stand-up, what is scrum, or what is agile, right? So the way how companies work, these are the things that you need to understand, because these are the things actually when you look out for a job change, also the people who are looking out for job change, the interviewer don't expect your knowledge on a tool, right? You are good with Kubernetes, then you know how to install and configure Kubernetes, you know how to run an application in Kubernetes. This is not going to help, right? The interviewer always want to know the problem that you are facing in the company and how you solve them, and what are the solutions that you built for those problems that you faced in the company, or your company was facing a challenge and how you solve. So those are the kind of things that your interviewer want to hear, right? So I have seen many people just trying to explain themselves to an interviewer as an expert in a tool. They don't care much, right? So it's kind of our idea is not to focus on the tools a lot. That is not the way how we do the training, but yes, we are learning lot of tools, 10 to 11 tools we are learning in very depth, because it is necessary to solve the problem what we are trying to solve, right? So you will keep your mentality in that manner from the beginning of the training. What are the problems, and that is exactly what even today also what I am going to talk about. Try to think always from a problem perspective and then build the solution. And yes, you have to use one or multiple tools to build the solution, and that is the same thing we are going to do during the projects also. And yeah, these are I categorize the sectors because DevOps is more like a you cannot do all these things in one project, right? And all these topics themselves are pretty complex, right? So that's the reason we put into different sectors, and we do a complete project in each sector. That is the way how we are going to run this program. And once we are done with the containerization and cloud orchestration, we will move on to the configuration management. That is the idea, and that is where we talk about managing the software configurations, server configuration, infrastructure configurations, etc. Today, there are ways to automate the configurations. I will tell you what is configuration, right? I mean, we will go there after some time. This is just an overview, and for there also we will have the 2 weeks of hands-on training. We use Ansible and Nagios. Nagios is not a config management tool actually, but we will take 2 days to talk about some monitoring stuff, some basic monitoring. We talk about that, and then we will do a week project where we talk about Ansible. We talk about an infrastructure, a complex infrastructure, how Ansible will update the configuration to every service and every software automatically without help of an engineer. And that is what this whole training is all about. And then we have continuous integration and continuous delivery, where we will take some sample project which contain a number of microservices. It contains one JavaScript based application and Java based application and Python based application, and we also learned some PHP applications during the prerequisites. And now we take that project and we will set up the proper CI/CD practices in that project. And it's a single project that consists of a number of microservices. That's the overall idea. And again, these are different tools we are going to learn: GitHub, Maven, NPM, Docker, Jenkins, and Minikube. These are different tools, and it is going to be an advanced training with a project. And then we will do one project, one dedicated advanced project after the training. That is the plan. And once you are done with the CI/CD, the CI/CD is all about doing a lot of automation so that every team can work together in a more easier way. That is a simple definition I am giving you now. We will talk more about CI/CD in a bit, right? So don't worry about the technical words that I am using. Some you might not be familiar with all that technical terms or even the tools what I am talking about, but don't worry about that, right? That is why we are learning this course. And then we have the Kubernetes advanced training. This is all about what are the problems which Kubernetes is trying to solve today, right? Lots of problems, especially the production problem, the server going down, your website going down, and making sure that your website is always up and running. Watch your services, and if any of them go down, restart them. Then create machines automatically in the cloud when there is a requirement. Lots of stuff There are a lot of stuff that Kubernetes try to solve, and we talk about all those problems and how Kubernetes solve those problems during the first 2 weeks of training, where we learn Docker and Kubernetes in detail, and then we will do a 1 week advanced project. And this is how our overall program will look like. What that means is, starting from tomorrow, we start with the prerequisites till next week mid, and then each of this training is going to take three weeks. So starting from here, then we go here, then we go here, and then we go here. So total 13 weeks, 13 and a half weeks, the entire program is going to take. And generally, I don't give too many assignments daily, but whatever we do it during the class itself. So I don't think you need to spend a lot of time. I don't want you to waste a lot of time doing these practices and assignment. But during the project week, yes, you definitely have to make sure that if time need to be spent extra, spend the extra time. Make sure that the project need to be completed within 5 days. You will get 5 days. Every team will have 5 days to complete their task, and there would be a project manager who would coordinate this. This is very, very important. We should in project week you may have to spend some extra time. I don't even the people who cannot spend time, you need to be there in the call, right? 1.5 hours call, you have to be there even if you are not actively engaged in the project, because it is the project that will help you understand your work. Otherwise, believe me, learning a number of tools. And in the training, we also in the training also we take some sample project to learn it. But still, unless you do the project, the people who clear interviews are, generally what I have seen are the people who were active participants in the projects. So it's very, very critical, and we would be coordinating the project in a much better way, and it's going to be make sure that we should complete it in 5 days. And yeah, this is an overview about what our program will look like. So it will take total 13 weeks, and the classes would be daily, Monday to Friday. Monday to Friday, it start at the same time, 7:30 a.m. IST, uh, right? 7:30 a.m. IST, Indian time, and 7:30 to 9, 1.5 hours per day. And that is how, even project also, it's going to be same, right? For the entire next 3 months, this is how our schedule will look like: Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 a.m. IST. And everyday classes will be recorded. You would get access to the recordings, right? It would be uploaded in a Google Drive, and also you would get access to a portal. You can log into basil.dorvat.tech, and that is where you would find all these courses and different materials. I would be uploading some assignment. The people who want to do the assignment can do the assignment. They are not mandatory, but only the projects are very, very mandatory. But the beginners, right, the people from the fresher background or beginners, you have to also complete the assignments as well, whatever is available on the portal. Go through all the articles, whatever I have shared in the portal, and notes. All the course materials will be shared on a portal. You will get credentials. You can log in to that portal, and you can work on that portal. And yeah, that is also part of this program. And no, it's not a permanent access. You are going to get access for 4 months, but extendable. If you want to extend it after 4 months, that is possible. But there will be some payment. It's very cheap. It's not about money, but I want to limit the number of people. So that's the only reason. Access is there for 4 months, which is generally, in most cases, that is good enough. But it is extendable. Great. It's basil.dorvat.tech, and currently you won't have access to it. So we will talk about that tomorrow. All right. So the next thing, I I'll start with different topics what I just talked about. I'm not going into anything technical. I will try avoid speaking anything technical today, but forgive me if I use some technical term that you don't understand. Don't worry about that, because try to understand the overall concept and why we are doing this. And after the prerequisites, don't you would be ready. After we starting from tomorrow, we learn the very basics, and we go to the little bit advanced also during the prerequisite training. After that only we would be starting with our all these advanced courses. So whatever technical terms I am using today, most of them are definitely very less people here from the DevOps background. I think nobody from the DevOps background. All of them are from different background, development, QA, then tech support, and stuff like that. So don't worry about the technical words I'm using. All right, let us start. I'm not taking your question now because we have the participant list is bit high. So I will take all your questions after this. Okay. So yeah, let me. All right. Yeah, the screen is pretty visible, right? I suppose.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so let us talk about. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to find a proper image. Okay. Yeah, if not, that's okay. All right. Actually, I have some problem with my mouse today. I'm on a different computer than mine. So yeah, let's talk about. Let's talk about a company. Think about Flipkart or think about Amazon or any company who is into retail business or some business, and they have a software application, Amazon.com or Flipkart.com. And if you look inside the company, what they have is a lot of small software components. And nowadays, most of the company create small software component. And nowadays, many company create microservices. Just rather than creating a single complex software, they will split the software into small services. And microservices are also not very common. I mean, are very common nowadays. That means you would find, hundreds of services, hundreds of small software. They work together as a single software, right? That's also very common. But let's take a general example that a company has a number of services that they developed, number of softwares that they developed, and it worked together to provide a single software solution to its customers. Think about the Amazon or Flipkart company, and they developed different applications. They have a front end application. They have an application that takes care of the shopping cart, another application that takes care of the user login, another application that takes care of the prime customer. Like that, there can be different applications that they developed. in some programming language, right? Don't worry about that. And there would be Google Pay payment options that they developed. The customer can make the payment using Google Pay, and there can be databases, that is where they store the data. There can be relational databases or NoSQL databases. There can be a number of databases, that is where they store the data, and they will have different API services. What I'm trying to say is there would be a number of software which they will develop separately rather than developing one single Flipkart.com software. They develop small software separately, and these softwares can communicate to each other whenever they need. For example, the shopping cart want to know what are the offers available for the prime customer. It can simply talk to the prime customer and ask what are the offers available using API calls. This is the way many companies work nowadays, and this is the right way today, right? Otherwise, every company, one complicated problem that every company is facing is it's difficult to manage a complicated software. So this way, somebody try to log in, then what happens is it will talk to the database, check if the user email ID and password is correct as per the database. Then the user get logged in, right? I'm telling you one example. Assume this is you on your browser. Assume this is you on your browser and you try to browse for the flipkart.com website. So what your browser does is the browser will connect to the front end, some software that Flipkart developed. And what this software does is, it would give the web page to you, right? You can see the web page on the browser, and then you try to click on login. You enter your email ID and password on the flipkart.com website. Then you click on the login button, and then what happens is the browser will make a request to a different software component, for example the login software component. And then what the login software component does is it will get the username and password from the browser. It will receive it from you, and then it will check the database. You will have a database. The Flipkart company will have a database which already contain the username and password. So what this particular software does is it will take the email ID from you, it will take the email ID from the database, and it will try to match both email ID and password. It will try to match, and if it is correct, user get logged in or you get logged into the website. Then you try to create a shopping cart. You selected some item on the browser, you click on add to cart button on the browser. Then what your browser does is, browser will continuously talk to different software components. Shopping cart component will take care of creation of the shopping cart, and shopping cart component may want to internally talk to the prime customer component, right? Of course, because the prime customer component has the offer details of the prime customer. So price would be different for prime customer, it would be different for other customers. So shopping cart may want to internally talk to the prime customer through APIs. Just APIs is what people uses, developers uses for such kind of communication. So these kind of things would happen inside a company, and the company develop different software, mostly in some programming language, right? It could be Java, it could be Python, or it could be Go, right? There are many programming languages available, and it is nowadays it's not mandatory that everything should be developed in one programming language. Not necessary. Something can be developed in a different programming language. No, they finally they talk to each other using some API calls, and this is the way how companies develop software today. Okay, great. This is just to give you an overview about what's a software, so that now I can explain what are the different. Now I can explain what are the different course that we cover, right? The 4 advanced training. So, and all the softwares they run inside, it can be on a server, right? A server is nothing but a machine like your computer, and the mesh server has better capability than your computer. It can run 24 hours 24/7 without getting heated up, and it can do a lots of fast processing, because the company like Flipkart, they get a lot of requests from their customer. Thousands or millions of people are browsing for the flipkart.com website. So you want to make sure that you need the machine that has very good capacity, and sometimes one machine is not sufficient, right? In case of Flipkart, one machine is never going to be sufficient, because thousands of people are browsing, and you cannot run the software in a single machine. All the software are spread across different machines. So the Flipkart company will create a number of servers, and the server can be their own server that they set up inside a building, inside a data center, or the server can be bought from the cloud, right? Cloud providers such as Google Cloud, Amazon Cloud, Azure Cloud. There are lots of cloud providers today, and you can actually easily create the servers in the cloud within seconds, within matter of seconds. And these software would run on those server machines, right? And your browser would be talking to those servers, and it is inside the soft server. All this, yeah, of course, to run the software you need a hardware, right? That's a simple basic thing you learned from your, right, from the foundation. So yeah, so it has to be, all the software runs inside some server, and this server can be cloud service, or the server can be on-premise data center ones, or whatever. So at the end, what Flipkart need is a huge number of machine, maybe 100 or 1000 or 10,000. Company like Flipkart, they definitely have more than 10,000 servers. They need that much machines to handle the load. A lot of load is coming from the customers, due to various reasons. Some software can be complex and they need more CPU and memory. So you will have, even startup company will have 100 or 500 servers nowadays. I'm talking about the startups who are already established, who are serving a lot of customers. So they will have a lot of machines, and all these software components are running across those machines. And so a lot of complexity are there inside an IT company. Who will manage all these machines, and all these machines should be able to talk to each other, because the software running inside the machine want to talk to each other. There should be proper networking infrastructure, there should be proper communication channel, there should be a lot of things, right? There has to be a lot of things that has to work for a software to run properly. So we are going to talk about the problems. What are the problems that the companies are facing, right? So let us start with that. What are the problems we are trying to solve with our training? That is what we are going to talk about. So we start with the container orchestration in the cloud. Okay, maybe I will first start with something else. Yeah, I'll start with the developer problem, most not developer problem, the people's problem. That is what we are trying to solve during the continuous integration and continuous delivery training. Sorry. Yeah. So let us talk about, I'm going to remove all these, and let us now talk about different teams who work inside a company, right? There would be developers, right? They are the one who do the coding. And developer do the coding, they have a lot of software component that they want to code, and then there would be that software need to be tested. So you need some number of people who will do the testing, the QA engineers, and there would be operations team who will work with the surveys, right? Setting up the surveys and giving the surveys to run the software. and then there would be release managers, a lot of people, a lot of people. I draw only, then there is monitoring team who will monitor all the software and make sure that softwares are up and running. And if you, then there would be the team can be split into different within the team there can be different operations that happen. So in an IT company, walk into any IT company, you would find a number of teams working together to develop or deliver a software or manage the software. You would find a lot of teams. Yeah, it all start from the people, the customers would provide you, the customers of Flipkart would provide you what they want, right? And Flipkart tries to understand their requirement. The people want payment using Google Pay. Then Flipkart will take their feedback, and then Flipkart will ask the developers to, start developing the GPay payment option so that people can make payment using GPay. I'm just telling you an example. So a lot of requirement would come from the market, and then your developers are the one who will do the coding. They do the coding to add the new feature, to remove an existing feature that is not needed anymore, to fix some existing problem. There can be some problems, and the problem need to be fixed. And so developers are the one who do the coding and develop the software. And whatever software that developer develops, you cannot say that they are healthy. You expect a lot of problem in that software. It would contain bugs, it would contain a lot of problems. Sometimes developer use a different version of libraries on their laptop, but on the server it is a different version. So it works in developer laptop, it don't work in production. So a lot of problems can happen uh, when developer develop a software by mistake. Some less expert person might have made a mistake, and the mistakes are made by every developer, even if they are experts. Lots of issues will come when they do the coding, and then there should be a QA team who will understand the issue, who will test the software, make sure that it has good quality, and if there is any problem, they will report the problem back to the developers, and developer would fix the problem. And this is a continuous process that will happen every day inside a company. And then the developer want to run the software. To run the software, it is another complex procedure. You want to developer write the code, and this code need to be first compiled, converted into some executable form, built into some Docker images, and then you run them inside your surveys. And there is a process that the developer can know how to run the software on their laptop, which is great. But the QA engineer want to run the software, they have to run it on a server, and the surveys are managed by a different team, operation team, and they are responsible for creating the server and setting up the software inside the server. Developer doesn't even know how to manage the server and set up the software in there. So there is a problem in that, and operation team takes care of that. And when they take care of that, they are a very busy team, and they are one of the busiest team in every IT organization. QA team, whenever they need a number of server to run the test, they may not be available. It would take time, and a developer keep waiting for the feedback coming from the QA team so that they can proceed. But QA team need time to do the testing. Even if it is automation testing, you want to run the test, automation test, and do a lot of manual testing, and finally give the feedback to the developer, and then developer start fixing those problems. He again made the code change, and again QA team identified the problem. And first of all, you want the server to be deployed with the latest code. Operation team need to get involved in that process, and then finally the release manager want to see everything is up to date, and or everything is functional and proper, and then they will approve the release, then take the software to the customers, or in other words, run the software on those surveys which is serving the actual customers of Flipkart. And only after that the customers of Flipkart would see the latest code. and then you need to do some monitoring. There would be a monitoring team who will watch all these surveys, and if something goes down, they would get alert and they will act on it. And then there are many other teams also. I'm not going to talk about each and every team today, but the point what I am trying to make here is that inside a company, what happens is, do you think every team would be working there with a single mindset? No. Every team only think about their responsibility and completing that. A team ask operations, I need the server, then I can start the testing. And operation team have their SLA. I mean, there is a request coming, they can take up to 2 days to create the server, and so they will create it in 2 days. So the 2 days the project got delayed. Developers are expecting the feedback from the QA team, and QA team have their own SLA. So they, right, you understand what will happen at the end, right? A lot of problem can happen, and you would actually see inside IT company, you would find a lot of teams working individually and everyone fighting together, protecting each other, protecting their team. I mean, the QA lead would be talking to developers lead saying that, this is a shitty software that you developed. And then the developer would tell the operation team, give us the server, you are the ones who is delaying all the project, and only operation team know what their problems are. So this kind of work culture will not help any companies. And what you need is a proper work culture where every team work together as one single team, and they will have only one focus: understand the customer requirement, do the development, and whatever development that happens should be continuously sent to the customers. It should be released to the customers. So this is where continuous integration and continuous delivery will come into picture. Our idea is that developer make a code change. The code should follow whatever this manual complex process the code need to undergo. It should undergo automatically. The QA team would not be, developers will not be waiting for the QA team to do the testing. The testing should happen automatically as part of this process. Developer won't be waiting for the operation teams to create the server creation and stuff should happen automatically. And operation team don't need to create the server themselves. The process would create the service for them. QA team responsibility is to develop the test scripts, and running the test scripts should not be their responsibility. So we will build a lot of automation system that nobody get blocked anymore, right? Due to this problem, nobody gets blocked anymore. And that is the overall overall idea why CI/CD is very, very important. And I wanted to talk about CI/CD first because of this. You will probably right, if you're already working in a company, you can easily relate these things, right? This is something you have already seen. All right, now uh, let us talk about configuration. I think that would be better to talk about configuration next. Okay, so let's what is a configuration? So that's what CI/CD. We are done with the CI/CD. Now I am going to talk about the configuration management. So I will, first of all, I will tell you simply what is a configuration. Think about, you are installing some software in your laptop, Firefox. You are installing Firefox in your laptop. So when you install Firefox in your laptop, it asks you download the exe file, you double click, and it will ask you a lot of information where you want to store the Firefox binary, where you want to create the shortcut. Do you want a shortcut on the desktop, or do you want a shortcut in the start programs, Or do you want updates to be downloaded automatically for Firefox, or do you want to manually update it? Right? It will ask you a lot of information, and then the installation of Firefox will succeed. So that information you gave to Firefox in your example is the configuration. So I'm giving you a simple example of what is configuration of a software. Configurations is something that a software need to work properly. Developing a software is not enough. If I tell you this example, the previous example where we talked about a number of microservices, let me go back there. I told you the login software want to know how to talk to database. Login software is developed, developed by your developers, and it is developed in a, very, very good manner. Great. But when the login software runs in a server, or, when you run the login software on a server, right? So the login software want to know how to talk to database. So when you install a software, I would say, I would use that term, which is more familiar to you, or deploy or whatever. When you run a software, at that time, it need to know some information. It want to know how to talk to database. Shopping cart want to know how to talk to the prime customer, because there is a need for the shopping cart to talk to prime customer. What is the IP address of prime customer? Or what is the name of the database? The shopping cart want to connect to database also, because the product data are fetched from the database. So the shopping cart want to know what is the product name, what is the product description, what is the price of the product. All that information are in the database. So when somebody try to, in their browser, they try to create a shopping cart want to internally talk to database. Shopping cart want to know what is the name of the database. To connect to the database, you might need a username and password. So what is that username and password? Then what is the IP address of the database? So these are some information that software need at the runtime. When you run the software, it need some information, and that's what we call configuration. All right. So now you think about a company who has, think about Flipkart and assume they have 25,000 surveys, and they have some, 100 or 150 software components, or maybe 1,000, whatever. And all these software components are running across all these surveys. Think about how you are going to apply this configuration to each and every software, and server need a lot of installations also. Every server should be installed with some prerequisites, then only the software will run there. Server needs some configuration, server needs some software installation, and then the software need different configuration. So how you are going to manage all that with people? No, it is not possible with people. What company nowadays do is they will manage the configuration in one place. You have hundreds of software, you have thousands of machine, that is okay. But when you write the configuration, you write all the configuration in one place. What shopping cart machine need, what is the database name, what is the IP address of the database, what is the username and password, what is the IP address of the prime customer, right? All this configuration are stored in one place for your entire software and your entire infrastructure. And then these configurations are applied automatically whenever the software runs. So we use Ansible for that. Ansible can not only store your entire configuration, you will have hundreds of software. For all software, Ansible will store the configuration, and Ansible will also apply the configuration to each and every machines that run your software. It can be thousands of machines or 500,000, doesn't matter. in every machine, Ansible can apply the configuration centrally. Software will automatically get the configuration that they need. So, right, this is a problem what we are trying to solve in the config management. That is what config management is all about. And then we talk about Kubernetes training, Kubernetes advanced training. That's all about. That's all about. So when you run all the software inside the service, right? It could be cloud. I told you, right? It could be cloud or it could be uh, something else also. It could be cloud or it could be in your own data center also. When you run these machines in the service, lot of things can go wrong. You know, thousands of people are browsing for your website and your server can handle that. And tomorrow, you know, a lot more people started browsing your website. Your server don't have enough capacity to handle all those traffic coming in. That can be one problem. And all these surveys, you know, whether it is cloud or whether it is on premise, these are electronic devices, they can fail. You know, it is a simple thing that any of the software can fail at any time. And if the software fail, then your customer would face the problem, right? When people try to browse your website, they won't see your website, you know, because some of the software component had failed. And similarly, you know, you can actually expect a lot of problem. Network can fail. Shopping cart is unable to connect to the database because the underlying network has failed. A lot of problem you expect inside your infrastructure, and I'm talking about hundreds or thousands of machines. So how you are going to manage this problem? How you are going to make sure that the front end is getting thousands of people and you want to scale it automatically? Right now, the front end is running in 100 CPUs. You want the front end to run in 500 CPUs because the load is high. Think about Flipkart conducting a big billion day or no, a campaign. On that campaign day, Flipkart might get double the traffic than normal or maybe 5 times the traffic than normal. So you need to add more machines automatically, or you know, add more machine to handle that traffic, scale, you know, the software to be running in more machines. So Kubernetes takes care of all that. Kubernetes can watch each and every software. If they go down, restart it. Then decide in which server this software should be running, and you know, switch it, you know, from one server is unhealthy, take the software to the next server. There should be 10 instances of shopping cart running, you know, make sure that shopping cart run in 10 instances. Shopping cart need 100 CPU. Kubernetes make sure that shopping cart always gets 100 CPU. If one of the shopping cart goes down, it will restart it automatically or it will replace it. It will run the software for you. You don't need a human to manage these surveys. And if you want to add more server automatically in the cloud, yes, Kubernetes can do that also. Kubernetes can work with your underlying cloud computing provider, and based on the traffic that it is receiving, it will ask the cloud provider, okay, provision a new machine. I need 10 more machines because traffic is getting high. Kubernetes can do that. It can add machine, and when the traffic is back to normal, you know, it can delete those machines, delete the service in the cloud. So that would save some money. And you know, a lot of things, traffic management, it can provide the networking services so they can talk to each other. It provide disaster recovery. If something fails, you know, it would, the other thing would come up. It provide you a proper isolation between the applications. A lot of things that, you know, that was the toughest job of a software company, managing a production environment. A company which is matured, or a company which is big, their problem is not development. Development is easy. Their problem is how do you manage the software in production? So Kubernetes solve most of that problem. Actually, most of that problem Kubernetes solve so that your operation engineer have this ability to work more flexibly. And sometimes that is what about Kubernetes. And then we talk about container orchestration in the cloud. We learn different cloud providers: Google Cloud, AWS, and Microsoft Azure. Ever since Kubernetes has came into the market, the importance of working with a cloud provider is not necessary today. Kubernetes standardize the operation that your infrastructure can run in any cloud provider in the world, and the migration is a very smooth process. The companies will have requirement. They want to run in Mumbai. They want to run their infrastructure in servers in the Mumbai, or they may want to do the same thing in the US, or tomorrow your company decided to expand to a different country. You might want to do that. So what Kubernetes does is Kubernetes make your infrastructure pretty simple, that if you have to migrate hundreds of servers to a different cloud provider, it is a automated process. So we talk about the cloud, we talk about how you can migrate your applications from one cloud to another, and how Kubernetes integrates with the cloud computing providers. And Kubernetes become very big standard today that every cloud provider offer managed Kubernetes services. So that's what we are going to learn there, the managed Kubernetes service. And yeah, that is also another problem that companies need to solve, and that is what the training is all about. And also nowadays those are the four courses we are covering within this same program. And one more thing what we need to understand here is that DevOps is a necessity, right? Whether you may be working in different field, you may be a QA engineer, or you may be a server engineer, or you may be from the development background, you may be a monitoring, working in the monitoring area, doing tech support, app support. So DevOps has to be learned, whether you uh, like it or not. I mean, that's the word I'm using. I'm sorry. DevOps is a necessity today. It's kind of that is what every companies are looking for. Every companies want to migrate themselves to this culture. The reason is that that would help them deliver very fast, manage things very smoothly, and deliver the technologies very fast. And this is one thing every company most companies already started using DevOps, and the companies who didn't, they are doing it. That is the intention. And especially after this uh, COVID, right, the pandemic, it is the company's intention that this has to happen. This should be taken care in a proper way, right? And a lot of people can work, less number of people can deliver more, right? That is the intention. So DevOps is a necessity, whether you want to continue with your existing profile or whether you want to switch completely to DevOps. It's a necessity everywhere, and it has a good opportunity also in them. And when it comes to the job, it's a convenient job. It's a flexible job that you like. And, and especially in Bangalore, you don't have work hours. You work at your convenient hours. It's a satisfying job, I would say. And then it's a highly paid job also, right? And our program is developed for this purpose only, making you be able to work in a DevOps environment. That is the whole idea of the program. And yeah, I was today we have more people than what I expected. So yeah, you can talk to your contact person, and we 20 is the limit. So we have 28 people today, and I'm sorry about that. But yeah, talk to your contact person and get your seat confirmed for the program. And yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk about. And I have some questions in the chat. Can you write the website on the chat? I will do that tomorrow, Shahab. The website you would get access to the website tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Fanny, Spandana, yeah, thank you for your message. Okay, yes, Spandana, if you can send a chat message about your background, that would be good. And yeah, the overall course is 13 and a half weeks long. That is the length of the course. And yeah, we start from tomorrow. Tomorrow same time. It's going to be 7:30 to 9. I already told you that. IST, talking about Indian time. Yeah, so any questions, please go ahead. I'm sorry I could not take your question because the count was more, but now I will make sure that I answer all your questions. So go ahead.
Hi, Basil. This is Ashwini. Just wanted to know if, as a basic, whether the Python or shell scripting something also will be taught, or
I will be sharing you, I will be sharing you the shell script and Python courses that I used to teach before, while during the DevOps itself. But today it's not a necessity. Shell scripting is definitely good to have. You should take it, and you would get access to that in the portal itself. Apart from that, we always try to avoid scripting. We would be writing some descriptive uh, languages, which is like JSON or YAML or XML, and nothing more than that. Other than that, we always try to avoid the need of programming, and that is where DevOps is getting mature. That is the way where DevOps is getting mature nowadays. You don't really need to be a programmer or avoid using programs. That is a necessity um, because today, 5 years before, learning program was very important in DevOps. There was no proper tools for everything, so you always have to do something of your own. So programming was important maybe 5 6 years before, but today that is not necessary. So but those who need it can take it. I would be sharing shell scripting, Python programming with you, self-paced courses, also an AWS course also. That is also optional, not mandatory. We are learning the cloud from the Kubernetes perspective. We don't have plan to learn the cloud, one cloud provider in detail, but those who are interested can take that AWS course, which I would be sharing you on the portal. The idea is that try to avoid the programming.
Hi.
got
Can you
Go
can you
ahead.
hear me? Yeah. So are we not covering Terraforms?
We are not covering Terraform. No.
Okay. I mean, is that not important, or
It
the
is
other?
yeah. It is important. It's a very important tool actually. But again, my idea is that do not focus on the tools. Focus on the problems, and whatever tools is needed, use them to solve that. The course is built in a proper structure that we focus more on the problem, and whatever is the right tool to solve that problem, we will use it. Terraform is actually a very important tool, and there are hundreds of tools, right? Of course you cannot learn all of them. Even the expert DevOps engineer cannot know all of them, but it's all about not learning the tools or adding additional tool in our program. That is not my intention, but you have the ability to solve a problem. And yeah, learning Terraform is pretty easy if you have to, right? After the training, you learn Ansible, you understand the surveys and you understand the configurations, how to work on the surveys and the information of automating it, then you decided that you want to provision a infrastructure in the cloud. In our case, Kubernetes do most of the provisioning for us automatically, so we don't have a need of Terraform. But there are companies who use Terraform when they want to provision a complex infrastructure in the cloud. In our case, it's Kubernetes does the job and Ansible does the config management also, so we don't need Terraform. But yeah, it depends on the company and depends on the work that you do. But my best advice is to stick to what we are learning and learn those tools. Try to become an expert in the tools what we learn during the training rather than learning something else parallelly. It won't add too much value, I think. Yeah.
Hello. Hi, Vasil. I am audible?
Yeah, go ahead, Sanjay.
Yes. Actually, I have one doubt. How much Unix Linux is required for the DevOps engineer, and how to depth we will be learning the Linux, because I'm last 4 to 5 years we are working on the Windows. Only some part we have to working on Linux. Could you please clarify this?
If you know Windows, that is really, really great. And Linux, how much Linux you need to know DevOps. There is no direct relationship between Linux and DevOps, right? But you are going to work on Linux a lot. Even not only for this course, even when you work as a DevOps engineer in the future, you are going to work on Linux a lot. So as much as knowledge you can gather from Linux, in our training, we don't focus much on that. We focus on what is necessary to learn DevOps. But when it comes to Linux, by the end of the training, we have 3 months, you are going to work on Linux a lot. Eventually, you will learn a lot in Linux also. But if somebody wants to learn more, yes, it's good to learn Linux, because that's good. But in our training, we are learning whatever is necessary, and we will be taking that path.
Okay,
Most
got it.
of you are not from Linux background.
Okay. And do you provide the any notes for the related to training for the sports self-study apart from video?
Yeah, there would be assignments, there would be some article that I want you to read, and different things. You would get access to all that on a portal. You can log into that portal and you can get access to that.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah. And classes will be recorded. Everyday classes are recorded and shared on a Google Drive. You would get access to that also.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, Basil. Is this course includes AWS complete concepts, or else basics of it?
No, and that's what I was
AWS.
telling previously. I used to take AWS training, and I have that course in the portal as a video course. Those who are interested can watch it. Our idea is that we focus on the containerization, Kubernetes perspective. So we would be learning a bunch of services which are needed by Kubernetes, the machine security groups and load balancers, then storage devices, a number of services we would be learning, but from a Kubernetes perspective. Yeah, but we are not planning to cover any cloud provider in depth. And if you are interested, I have the course. You would get access to that in the portal. You can take it. But for a job changing perspective, I don't insist to take AWS self-paced course. If you have time, you can do it, or if you have a job requirement on that, you can take it. Otherwise, it's not mandatory, but you will get access. Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying about self-placed courses, right?
Yeah, you will get AWS, shell script, and Python. All the three are self-paced courses. We won't cover them during the training. You can take them at your convenient time whenever you want to.
Yeah, Basil, is this from completely zero level? I mean, for beginners to experienced?
Yeah, our program is designed in such a way that if you have some experience, it will definitely help, right? Having some understanding about the team. In your case, I don't think it's a problem. Uh, Even for freshers also, you can start, no, the prerequisites training would actually give you a clear idea. We will be talking about how people work inside the company and what's the software, how you, so there are a number of freshers who actually take this training and succeed and get placed in there. So that is always there. But if you have some experience, yes, that would help a lot. You already know many of these problem what we are trying to solve. So that is always good.
Yeah,
That's the complete problem. Yeah,
yeah,
Suresh,
hi,
come.
Bas. Yeah, without knowing AWS in basics, but the DevOps is very, I mean, very.
No,
It's
no,
it's
and
it's, it's
I'm
not
getting your
additional.
question.
Yeah,
We are going to, tomorrow what we are going to do is we are going to create yourself an AWS account. All our lab environment will be in AWS. So we will
yeah.
be using AWS a lot, right? So, but without learning, is there any direct relationship between AWS and DevOps? In fact, it's not directly related, but we would be using cloud. We would be always using cloud, or most of our lab environment will be in the cloud only. So
I
yeah,
think in core structure mostly covered in DevOps side, right?
this is not an AWS course.
And DevOps.
Yeah, this is a DevOps, mainly DevOps course with multi-cloud. So this is, I don't know if anybody
Yeah,
is here who is looking for AWS course. This is not a, if you are someone who is looking for complete AWS training, this is not the course. But they are not directly related. What you said is not completely correct. You don't need to learn AWS to learn DevOps. You need to have some cloud knowledge. You should use AWS because it's a necessity. You
okay.
don't need to be an AWS expert. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Basil?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Harsha.
Harsha. Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Harsha.
The project, what you're doing in the course, so how do you think that, like, can you confirm, like, can you tell, I mean, how much it will help us for us to know the workflow of DevOps? Uh, like for the interview, I mean, you told that it's not that much they will ask, but we should know the workflow, right? We should know the flow. So how do you
Definitely, they
help?
will ask a lot. I didn't say they won't ask much. They will ask a lot. What I am saying is, that is our intention when we take this course. The actual intention is to be able to do some project and talk to the interviewer. What I do is at end of every project, I take a separate session at the end of the project, what the project is all about, right? Sometime even after completing the project, you will still have a lot of clarification that you require. So there is a session at the end of each project. There is a separate session only for the interview preparation and what the interviewer expects. So, and yeah, this you do the project well, and finding a job is generally not important, right? Not very difficult once you did the course well. What I have seen from my previous students, finding a job in DevOps is not important. Most of the companies are struggling to find the right people, and DevOps is the toughest job position to fill in because the number of eligible people, there are many people, but number of eligible people in the market is very very less. And even most of the people, right, who hire DevOps engineer, that is the most hectic job for them. So there is always a need, there's always a demand. And if you this course is structured in such a way that if you did it well and if you completed the project well. Finding a job is not very difficult, I think. Yeah, that's what I have seen. Yeah. Jayesh, yeah, let me take your chat. 3 years of experience as network engineer. I have a question. Most of the companies want DevOps engineer who is having cloud service product knowledge. Yeah, I think I already answered the question. Yeah, we will be using completely cloud. The entire training would be in the cloud only. Your lab environment will be in the AWS cloud, and later on you would also learn Google Cloud and GCP when we take the cloud training on Kubernetes. At that time, you would be learning AWS, Google Cloud, and Microsoft Azure, all the three. So yeah, cloud is very important. Cloud is knowledge is very important for DevOps, because most of the company uses cloud, and that is why we will be using completely cloud for all the lab environment. And yeah, we also use on-premise as well. In one of the Kubernetes training, we would also be learning data center on server setup on-premise also. Fanny, I think I already answered that. And so does the complete program cover things to get for a free? Yeah, Fanny, I think I already answered that. Till Kubernetes only knowing. Saujanya, I'm not sure if I got your question, but yeah, we can clarify. So anyone else, any questions? Now we will try to make the course more interactive. It's important that we all talk a lot. That is something we should make sure during the online training. So don't feel about not talking, or don't hesitate. Don't hesitate at all. It can be any question, even if it is outside the course also, you can ask me. It can be any question. So we will try to keep the course more interactive. Right, that is important in online. I don't see your faces, and what I hear from you is what I understand. How you are following, and I need regular feedback from you. Every few minutes, are you able to understand? If not, or if you want to repeat some portion, I would need regular feedback from you. So make sure that whenever there's a chance, please try to talk, right? And what about other tools? Is it okay to understand DevOps completely? Yeah, Saujanya, let us focus on whatever tools we covered. So we are learning. I will give a list of the tools. We learn Docker, we learn Kubernetes, we learn Linux, Apache, some website setup initially during the prerequisites. Then we learn Docker, Kubernetes, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, AWS. Then we learn GitHub, Jenkins, Maven, NPM. Yeah, then Jenkins, we learn Jenkins in detail. And all these tools we are learning in detail. Ansible, Nagios. Then we have self-paced courses, shell scripting, Python, and AWS. So these are the tools, different tools that we cover during the training. You can always get a detailed topic list from your contact person. That you can always get. And yeah, whoever want to confirm, your contact person is the right one to talk to. So please talk with your contact person. I'm not the one who can confirm your seat. Talk to your contact person. Yeah, Sanjeev, I don't know who it is. That's why I'm asking. Sorry for that. I'm going to office every day. Office timing is 9:30 to 6. Yeah, the class will be finished by 9 a.m. That is for sure. The course we wind up everyday class by 9, and this is the only timing I take training. And actually 9:30 my office always also starts. So This is the only timing available, 7:30 to 9 a.m. AST. Do we code in DevOps? If we do, in which part? Yeah, not much, Kiran. We avoid coding. We will be writing a lot of YAML files and configuration files in a descriptive format. We don't do any coding. We don't do that. I am completely from a different background as a fresher. Just DevOps, should I learn anything? Spandana, so I need to talk more if we can get into a phone call. So yeah, there are a few things. For freshers, there would be some extra work also that you need to do on a daily basis. Some articles, some assignment. There would be a lot of extra work that you need to do. But yeah, a lot of freshers take this course and succeed also. But again, if you can give me a call, I can explain that in more depth. To ask your contact person for a call. Could you give me correct link? What does that mean? Amit, I did not understand that. What link? The website, the portal link, we will talk about.
Incorrect meetings. I think so.
Yeah, the portal we will talk about it tomorrow. Today we don't have that. Tomorrow, once you spoke to your contact person, then we will talk about it tomorrow. Yeah. All right. So yeah, shall we wind up then? Okay. Cool. So
Yeah, sure.
yeah. So see you tomorrow same time, and it will be same link. But
Thank you.
before that you talk to your contact person and get their confirmation. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you.